Hey guys, sorry about that. Monkey is his internet's still all fucked up, so he'll join us when he can. Um, you want to just continue with the news?
Let's give it a couple minutes for people to show up.
Thank you,
Oh,
Adam
there's only
R.
30 people here. Jeez Louise. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Adam. The spice must flow. Yes. Let me spread the word a little bit before, oops, if I don't screw this up. Let's try that again. Okay, live with SDA. Come on, thing, work. Let's not have my internet go crapped out too.
Thank you, Point. Thanks for the hard work. You guys are doing an awesome job. Well, thanks for sticking around when shit hits the fan.
Okay. Back upstream. Okay. Well, what was I talking about before? Oh, I was saying how I was surprised something didn't happen to Obama. You said you weren't surprised so much because the rabidity, let's say, of the rhetoric wasn't as widespread on the right during Obama's reign as it is on the left in Trump's reign so far.
Yeah, I think it was nowhere near as bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, during Obama's administration, it's not like you had massive right-wing riots where they were beating up people because they liked Obama or they were burning things down or anything like that. I mean, I think just demonstrably the left has been way more violent.
Yeah, the Tea Party wasn't shouting down presenters or throwing Molotov cocktails at the colleges and things like that. So, well, I guess then the question is this the first of many?
I hope not. I kind of said this. I kind of say this in the video that I filmed today, but given that Lacey Green has said that she's okay with talking to us and some other people are following suit, I'm hoping that we can stop this before it gets bad. That being said, given that so many other high-profile feminists are pretty much just like, oh, this is awful and you shouldn't talk to these people, I don't know. Thank you, Sanguine. Wait, this is an SDA stream now. Number 1, the Force. Oh, yeah, we get it. Everything's black. Fuck you, Sanguine.
What? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I really hope that this isn't the start of it because there's no reason for it. But I think that it is this way because these people have it in their heads that if you don't agree with them politically, then you're a terrible person and your politics dictate whether or not you're an okay human being.
Well, the one thing I can hope for is that this event will actually scare off some of the more moderate individuals from taking the next step towards extremism on the left. When it gets to the point where someone who, if it is true, and again, this is all I think still being looked into, but if it is true that he was a staunch Bernie supporter and was an anti-Trump guy and etc. I talked a few weeks ago about the, what is the inevitable outcome of Antifa or that side of thinking? I mean, what is the ultimate conclusion for that sort of thinking if it's taken to its extreme end? And it's of course going to be violence or people getting hurt and so on. Something as high profile as this that thankfully didn't result in anyone dying except for the person who started it. It might scare off people from or give people a pause who are of a extremist or burgeoning extremist viewpoint from taking that next step. And
well, yeah, I hope so. I just don't know because, like I said, before we switched over here, it's not as though there hasn't been a ton of violence in the past 3 years. They just haven't used guns.
Right.
They've burnt stuff down. They've beat the shit out of people. But I guess, thank goodness that it's the left that's going crazy because it's the people that don't have guns that are nuts right now. So on the bright side. But yeah, I hope that this wakes people up, and I don't know if it will or not, but I hope it does because I really don't want to see it escalate.
Okay, well, let's keep our fingers crossed that Monkey can join us and we can continue that conversation before we cycle ourselves through it too far that he can't join in. But let's move on to other news.
Real quick, thank you, Terry. Yes. Is SDA hosting to spare Scribe from doing ads? Well, it would have been it would have been my turn tomorrow, so that's why I'm hosting.
Yeah, so tomorrow will probably be either SDA or Monkey again, depending.
Yeah.
Either way, probably Monkey if we can work it out. But sorry, guys, still no internet. I hope it's just the storm. Okay, yeah. So Ranting Monkey, he's got a storm going on at his house right now, so we're just going to carry on for the next little bit until we get tired or whatever, and we'll see where we go from there. Other news today. This was the big headline before the stream started. Amazingly enough, not the shooting, but more Trump drama. Mueller investigating Trump for obstruction of justice, Washington Post reports. I love how CNN consistently over the last couple of weeks keeps posting stories that the Washington Post has posted. It's like they're not doing their own reporting. They're just relaying what the Washington Post has reported. I mean, CNN is turning into TYT, or effectively us in a fashion, you know, because all we do is read the news too, but at least we don't pretend that we're a journalistic organization. Justice Department Special Counsel Robert Mueller is investigating President Donald Trump for obstruction of justice, the Washington Post reported Wednesday. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just making sure because if there's a long silence, I get cagey now. Mueller is interviewing as early as this week 3 top intelligence officials as part of the probe, the Post reported, citing, quote, 5 people briefed on the requests. The 3 officials the Post says Mueller is interviewing are Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats, National Security Agency Director Mike Rogers, and Richard Leggett, the recently retired Deputy NSA Director. It is the most significant sign that Mueller's investigation is extending beyond questions of Russian interference in the 2016 election. The news came the same week as Trump friend Chris Ruddy floated the possibility that Trump would fire Mueller, who was appointed to head up the investigation after Trump fired FBI Director James Comey. And then they just go into a whole bunch of history lesson on Comey and that kind of stuff. So the special investigator or prosecutor is, well, investigating. I think it would be dumb for Trump to fire him, because if you wanted to look like, if you want to make things look like there was an appearance of impropriety or you trying to suppress investigation, that'd be the quickest way to do it. But investigating Trump for obstruction of justice. Maybe so that's got to be because of him firing Comey, right?
I think so, or maybe stuff that he said to Comey.
Yeah, that can be the only option for obstruction of justice, unless there's something else going on that I can think of. At the same time, unless there's something more that hasn't been revealed yet, all the stuff that Comey said happened is nebulous at best for being obstruction of justice, because Trump didn't actually do anything to obstruct justice, as far as I know.
Right.
So.
Thank you, Sanguine. No, you two can write, and even TYT seems to have editors of sorts.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And the other thing you wrote down.
Yeah. So, and that's sort of a non-story in the sense that it's just a little bit of high-level stuff, and they don't say anything more about what might not be.
Well, it's pretty much. It sounds exactly like, you know, the other 10 stories that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, which is something they're investigating, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine, Afro Taint, you happy?
So that puts us into potpourri, basically.
Okay.
Let's see. So our categories are Bachelor Update, Black Lives Sued, and Qatar troops.
Qatar.
Let's see. Qatar pulls all its troops from Djibouti, Eritrea. I'm bad with words. Border. Qatar said Wednesday it has pulled all of its troops from the border of Djibouti and Eritrea. East African nations that have long-running territorial dispute with Doha had helped mediate. Qatar offered no explanation for the move, though it comes amid a diplomatic dispute over other Arab nations that have cut diplomatic ties and are now trying to isolate Qatar from the rest of the world. The 450 Qatari troops controlled a mountainous border crossing between Eritrea and Djibouti, and said Nasreddin Ali, a spokesman for God, these words and these names, Eritrea's biggest armed group, known as the Red Sea Afar Democratic Organization. Okay, so Qatar is pulling all of its troops back from a... I wonder if they are worried about there being an attack. Because if you have like
recent drama.
If you have all your troops like far afield and you think that there's going to be a need for them to defend, quote unquote, the homeland, you pull them back from places that were not necessarily vital.
Yeah.
I think unless something dramatic happens, something dramatic could happen with Qatar in the near future, because all of these little moves, all these little stories are adding up to a really scary situation, depending on what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Because I don't imagine that Saudi Arabia and the UAE would just arbitrarily or just decide to invade or something. But
it's also the Middle East, so...
Yeah, so who knows? Let's see. Yeah, this is a long story, or at least a pretty long story that's got a whole bunch of background information on there. So, there's a lot of people talking about the possibilities of a diplomatic rift in the Persian Gulf becoming worse, which I completely agree with, given what we've seen in the last, not even the last 20 years, but the last 30 years. So. Okay, something else to keep an eye on. In the meantime, we got Black Lives Sued and Bachelor update.
The Bachelor, I guess.
Okay, Bachelor in Paradise cast member Corinne Olympios speaks out. Bachelor in Paradise cast member Corinne Olympios is speaking out after production on the ABC reality show was halted amid allegations of misconduct. Quote, "I am a victim, and I have spent the last week trying to make sense of what happened on June 4th, Olympios said in a statement obtained by CNN Money from her publicist. Although I have little memory of that night, something bad obviously took place, which I understand is why production on the show has now been suspended, and a producer on the show has filed a complaint against the production." Olympios did not specify how she was victimized. Well, if we believe what TMZ reported the other day, she and another cast member had a little private pool party that I think was supposedly filmed.
I think so, and they were like drunk or whatever, and they got busy in the pool, and now obviously she was raped.
Well, obviously or not obviously, who knows? Let's see. She says, "As a woman, this is my worst nightmare, and it has now become my reality. As I pursue the details and facts surrounding that night and the immediate days after, I have retained a group of professionals to ensure that what happened on June 4th comes to light and I can continue my life, yada, yada, yada." Okay.
What, you got shit-faced drunk and had sex with somebody in a pool?
Yeah,
I mean, there are literally cameras everywhere.
This is what I'm... Sets. Yeah, this is what this is one of those things where it's like, okay, being blind drunk was your choice.
Well, he was drunk too.
Yeah, exactly. I hate these stories. I hate these stories because it's so nebulous as to where the line is between, oh, well, I was too drunk to consent. Well, I know that there are situations where someone can be too drunk to consent. If you're conscious and you're moving and you're giving nobody any indication that you're in peril or anything, it's difficult to, like, I don't remember what happened. Well, that doesn't mean that what happened was bad or was non-consensual.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hate stories like this because it's just
especially if the other person is just as fucked up as you are.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure we'll hear more of that.
Monkey.
Did you miss me?
Only because my aim was off.
So you're
I'm
like the
sorry
shooter in
to
DC
scare
or
you.
Virginia, huh?
I saw these.
Yeah.
I know you.
I say that tomorrow's stream should be back on Monkey's channel to try to make up for lost time, but we'll figure that out tomorrow, I suppose.
Well, I don't know how long y'all have me because this storm is still raging out there. My cat is hiding under my desk here.
Well, we'll take you for as long as we can get you. So what were you faded out exactly at the point at which you're going to ask some deep question about the shooting in Alexandria today. So
my question was whether or not you guys thought this was that the anti-Trump, anti-Republican rhetoric has anything to do with what happened, or if the guy's just a nutbar.
Oh, I think it absolutely does. I mean, like this anti-right wing, anti-Trump, whatever rhetoric has been not causing violence, but people with that ideology have been using it to justify violence. This is just one of the first times that they've taken a gun to it. Usually they just beat you up.
Yeah, I can't help but do you guys remember? Well, maybe SDA doesn't, but do you remember Scott Roeder? Remember the shooting of Scott Roeder? Not the shooting of Scott Roeder, but Scott Roeder shooting Dr. Tiller.
That sounds so familiar.
Tiller, the baby killer. George Tiller was an abortion doctor down the South.
Yes.
So Scott Roeder was a guy who was a super duper activist, pro-life, and and George Tiller was promoted as basically the pro-life's antichrist. And Scott Roeder just drove up to George Tiller's church one day, walked in the church, blew Dr. Tiller away with a gun, and then basically turned himself in. And it was found that he was associated directly with pro-life groups and so on. When I look at this guy who's 66, who has put out rhetoric all over the place about his political ideology and his hatred of Trump and everything else, I mean, I hate using the phrase lone wolf because it just sounds so dismissive of everything. Mm-hmm. But if I have to imagine if it had not been extremist liberal thoughts and ideas, it would have been something else with this guy. And that's not to excuse or to say that, taking it to the extreme in this way is somehow okay, or he's a victim of his own, mental illness or something. But I just think that if you get caught up in the good versus evil in any particular setting, whether it's pro-life versus abortion, whether it's Republican versus Democrat, if you it's like with any other religious thing. If you think you're on the side of righteousness, you can be pushed to do extreme things to express that outrage and to also sort of elevate yourself as some kind of hero.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant to blame it on that rhetoric. I think it played a part definitely with him. Sure.
No, I'm not saying it didn't play a part. Let me clarify. No. I don't mean that it didn't play a part. It didn't push him over the edge. I'm just saying that the core notion of good versus evil, wherever you are, whether it's political or social or otherwise, is always going to grab someone who has that thin barrier between reason and insanity, and they'll run with it.
Well, yeah, I was what I was getting at is I think anything could have set this fucker off. Mm-hmm. It just happened to be this is the ideology he believes in.
Right.
I do think the good versus evil part that you're talking about played a huge role, because we've talked about this before. It's no longer just, hey, that guy has a different idea. It's that fucker's evil.
Yeah. Point, thank you very much. Yeah. We are edging closer to a civil war. Be civil, engage with opponents, untangle some of your differences. Never give up and don't use violence. Well, that's the ideal.
It's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to that's just a guy with a different perspective rather than he wants everybody to die.
Right. Now,
rhetoric is ridiculous.
Yeah, the difference between the Scott Roeder situation and this one is, like you say, the the idea that now on the Scott Roeder situation, he was most of what he was based around was religion, and there's obviously a baked in good versus evil, God versus the devil sort of narrative there. We don't have gods and devils in the political rhetoric right now, but we effectively do, because anything that does not go one way is diametrically opposed to good. I mean, even if you're not talking on a spiritual level, it is quasi-spiritual. You know, Trump, Republicans, conservatism, all of these things are of Satan. And I'm gonna say Satan in the sense of the literal meaning of the word in Hebrew, the adversary. You know, these things are Satan. These are the adversary, and we are on the side of right. And you're right. The rhetoric has become mainstream. The mainstream rhetoric now is they are bad. Not just bad, they are doing evil.
Well, I mean, and because of that rhetoric, it's justified to try to hurt people who disagree with you, because you can punch them because it's self-defense, because you're defending yourself from their ideas or something, supposedly.
Yeah, because if Richard Spencer is allowed to speak, Hitler will literally be reborn.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was just the next... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up, STA, because that was going to be my next point. There's actually people who think that it's self-defense to punch somebody who didn't threaten you.
And, you know, I don't actually know that this guy would have, I mean, maybe he would have done it otherwise, but I don't think you can say that about everybody who's perpetuated violence. I mean, when you look at Evergreen State College, when you look at the riots in all these cities that were carried out by Black Lives Matter, I don't think these people would have done any of this stuff if they didn't have the ideology that they have.
Well, it's like the old Hitchens quote: "If you want a bad person to do bad things, you know, that's just what they're going to do. That's part of their nature. If you want a good person to do bad things, you'll need religion, because without some higher authority validating their behavior or encouraging their actions against other people's well-being, most people will do good and just keep to themselves if left to their own devices. And so this was, I mean, this guy might be a one-off in the sense that he wasn't associated with any particular group. Maybe he wasn't Antifa per se or anything else, but his actions today are just really the next logical step for whatever the crazy side's doing right now. Between the Berkeley riots and the violence there and elsewhere, and the authoritarian regime taking over at Evergreen State College, things like this, actions like this, are really the only place it has left to go in the extremist cookbook. Now, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully, like I said earlier, that this guy's actions, sort of jumping ahead of the evolution of things, will scare people off from going that far, or make them second guess themselves about what exactly they're doing and why, and what they hope to accomplish by wallowing in these ideologies. But my pessimistic side says this is only the first of several extreme actions to be had in the near future.
It wouldn't surprise me. Sorry, go ahead, Monkey.
No, you go first.
It wouldn't surprise me given how much it's escalated in the past, and it sort of seems like the natural evolution of what we've been seeing over the past 3 years or so, that it would end up at this point. But, you know, I hope not, but I don't know.
I have been saying for more than, God, probably 2 decades now, that the difference in the rhetoric from the right and the left, even when you look at extremist people on the right, like, say, a Rush Limbaugh, they don't generally use terms like evil. Mm-hmm. Rush does occasionally when he's trying to be funny, but it's never about the person being horrible. But if you look at the other side, it has been getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. To where, I mean, they want you to have bad air. They want, if you look at the talk about the change to Obamacare, they want people not to have, they want to have people die and not get medical care. Yeah. This is why I so often push the point that the person on the other side honestly believes they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We get so into this good versus evil, and it's so toxic, and it's going to lead to more of this.
Thank you, Manhattan Project.
Because of this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, because of this, I think you'll see pretty much all Congress get their own security detail. Because again, they would have all been dead if it wasn't for the police that were there because of, oh God, I forgot how to say his name, Scalise. Yeah, without his security detail there, he'd have been shooting for a lot longer.
Yeah.
And probably killed people.
Yeah.
Thanks to Manhattan Project. I know there's more important things being discussed, but holy fact, SDA, you're pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, I'm done being a creeper. Good day.
Thank you.
Well, the more important distinction I hope people have is the difference between someone saying something versus someone actually doing something. Because I can be a Rush Limbaugh and talk all day and say things that are completely disagreeable to you. But I've said this like practically every stream for the last week, if it doesn't pick my pocket or break my leg, it doesn't matter. It's just words. It's just sound in the ether. If you're going to equate words with violence, and so many people use that phrase, words are violence, etc., they're not. They're not violence. Short of me, ordering people to attack you, words are not in themselves a violent act. And if you're going to equate words with violence and you feel justified in thus taking real violence against people whose words you disagree with, that's where everything breaks down. And that seems to be what this guy was operating under, because he went to a baseball game.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about the most symbolic perversion of the American, sort of iconography. Going to a baseball game, and not only a baseball game, but a baseball game that was a friendly competition between Democrats and Republicans. A situation where you had people on different sides of the ideological aisle, literally, who came together, setting all that aside, just to have a fun game.
Well, and to raise money for charity.
And to raise money for charity, exactly. I mean, this is, that, whatever you may think about the people involved and their ideas and everything else, that event in and of itself is representative of what I would hope we all operate under in this country. It's not, but it should be. And here comes this guy who is on such an extreme end that his solution to the problem is to blow it away. I don't know how much more, like I said, symbolic you can get about that whole situation.
Well, as Monkey said, this kind of comes down to the difference in rhetoric between the left and the right, and that's why I don't think that they're really comparable, because the worst elements of the right, even if you look at Richard Spencer, he has not once advocated violence or like really defended violence or anything like that. Mm-hmm. He just has ideas, and I've listened to hours of Richard Spencer talk, just to get an idea of, I guess, what the worst elements of the skeptic anti-social justice side of the universe is saying. And, the worst of us isn't even advocating violence, whereas the mainstream of the other side is.
Yeah.
And that's where you have the problem. So.
Okay. Well, I have one potpourri article left, if we want to go over that. And it's kind of on point, sort of. This one says, can Black Lives Matter be sued? Amazingly enough, an activist attorney says no. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Black Lives Matter is a movement, not an organization that can be sued by a Louisiana police officer who was injured at a protest after a deadly police shooting, a prominent activist attorney claims. A federal judge is scheduled to hear arguments Wednesday about whether to dismiss a Baton Rouge police officer's lawsuit against Black Lives Matter and DeRay McKesson, a Baltimore-based activist. McKesson was one of nearly 200 protesters arrested after the July 2016 shooting of Alton Sterling, a black man shot and killed by a white officer during a struggle outside a convenience store. McKesson's attorney, William Gibbons, said in a court filing that Black Lives Matter doesn't have a governing body, dues-paying members, bylaws, quote, or even a central location. At best, the lawyer argued, it's a community of interest. However, even as a community of interest, it would be nearly impossible to ascribe a single common purpose or interest to the hundreds of thousands of different people, many with different goals and motives, who have protested, posted online, or acted under the Black Lives Matter banner, Gibbons wrote. Right. So, Black Lives Matter is not an organization, it is a movement.
But they're an organized movement.
It's just a hashtag. Okay, so what? It was a ghost that burnt down Baltimore. Okay, whatever.
But they have people who come out as representatives.
Yep.
This is the
Yeah,
this is
like
the really,
Sean King being like one of the founders or whatever. Like, you guys have representatives and all that kind of fun junk.
Yeah, D. Ray McKesson, Opal, I forget her name. Anyway, I've seen these guys on stage talking about how they are the founders. That's how they're referred to, the founders. Now, true, that's all rhetoric if it's not legally true that they are an organization or have documents or that kind of thing.
They've got to be raising money. They've got to be a 501 or 503c.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, then yeah, they can be sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, an activist lawyer said no, so of course.
Oh yeah, the lawyer for the guy.
I think you point pigs in a blanket frame like that. Yeah, I mean, it's not like they are organized or anything. Except that, like,
Yeah, they have a website where you can donate and everything. Yeah, they can be sued. They might not like it being sued, but they can be sued.
Fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. Aside from that, then we are down to MSS News. Unless there was something else, since we've had a delay,
Yeah,
we
it's
can always
already
just kind of
the top of the hour, so you want to just move on to YouTube stuff?
sure.
Okay.
Before we get to YouTube stuff, I have to tell you another story. I bought myself a fidget spinner today.
Oh no.
No, they're cool. I've wanted one since I first saw them because I am somebody who needs to play with things. You yelled at me one time because I was tapping a pen during a stream.
Yes,
I
I do.
Remember that?
I did. Oh, I remember.
I'm playing with my spinner now. You can't hear it. See, isn't that much nicer?
Monkey's playing with himself.
Yes. It's sitting on my desk, and my son walks in, looks at it, and goes, "You got a fidget spinner?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Fag."
Which one was that?
That's the youngest.
Sunky. Sunky,
Yes,
not
the one that
clunky.
judges me all the time.
Yeah, I want a fidget cube. I don't want a spinner. I want one with
Oh
like
my
the more
God.
stuffs.
You guys.
I just think it's cool, and it gives me something to
such
do that
followers.
doesn't annoy people
Uh-huh.
that can hear. Anyway, so YouTube, huh?
Yeah, hey, SDA, tell us about that video you dropped about like 10 minutes before the stream started.
I'm sorry.
You sound real sorry.
I am. So Neon Fiona, Riley's girlfriend thingy, whatever. She was basically just like, you know, if you don't want to fuck trannies, you're transphobic or whatever. And essentially her main issue with it was not that if you say you'd rather not fuck a tranny, but if you're like, trannies are totally out, then you're a dick or whatever. So yeah.
Can I just say I don't like the term preference when it comes to this? Because it's not that I prefer women. It's that I do not in any way want to fuck men.
Yeah.
I have no interest.
Yeah, I guess in my case it is a preference because I like both. But pragmatically I prefer one over the other. But yeah, if you literally don't want to suck a dick, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah, preference to me is like, this is a conscious choice. I mean, if I look at someone, doesn't matter, you know, either I'm attracted to them sexually or have those notions or I don't. You know, every woman just because I'm heterosexual does not mean every woman I see suddenly makes me go, oh, it's chemical, it's instinctual, it's whatever's been ingrained in my brain as to what I find physically attractive or sexually attractive. It's not like, I can't decide. Am I going to have the light yogurt today or the regular? It's not like that. It's just like, I don't know. I can't explain it because it's instinctual. It's not a conscious choice.
It was a good video. Anyone who hasn't seen it should check it out. Yeah, I agree. Go watch after this. Don't leave right
Hey.
now, but later. And she also brought up that, like, with gay guys, they're not going to want to fuck a transgender woman, even if she has a penis. And it's like, yeah, because there's a little bit that goes in, there's more that goes into a man than just having a dick. Like, what if you're not into really effeminate men? You know? I don't know. Like, and I don't even get why it matters either.
Well, because
guess.
it's all about normalization. That's what it comes down
Yeah.
to.
Thank you, Sanguine. I am strictly non-dickly when it comes to partners. Intersectional math.
Now, intersectional math is gay. That has been proven.
Mm.
I don't have
sorry.
any interest in penis. It's not a preference. It's biological. When it comes to preference for me, it's like, okay, that's a big bitch. I'm not really attracted to her.
That's a huge bitch. Keep it in the circus.
I don't want to fuck Whitney Waythor, even though she has a vagina.
Somewhere in there.
So yeah, I mean, you got to dig, get some rope and.
Oh, gross.
Climbing
Monkey.
Go spelunking.
You just know there's some beeswax in there somewhere.
Oh.
Zzz. But yeah, I just don't see it as a preference when it comes to that. I mean, preference to me is differences in women. Men never enter into it for me. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a choice for me. Anyhow.
Well, I guess, like, I have certain preferences because I've dated women and I don't really want to do it again, and I want kids and all that fun junk. So,
Junk.
you know, that's for me, that's a preference, and there's still nothing wrong with it. Thank you, communist in space. Fuck the pain away, whatever you mean by that. Xena, thank you. I sexually identify as the kid in my avatar. Okay. The kid in my avatar smoking. My pronouns are Har, Hardy, and Freddy the Flute.
How come Neon Fiona does that with her arms? That's really fucking annoying.
I don't know.
Yeah, she looks like a marionette, like or one of those posable like artist model things that you just like animate in claymation or something.
Like,
Yeah.
I talk with my hands, but that's just
Yeah, that's really
levels
weird.
of bullshit.
Maybe she's trying to conjure something. Maybe that's how she waves her hands and to like make a magic spell happen.
Valentina Paxman, no, you don't like me very much, asked, would you date a black guy? I don't know, maybe.
I'd date your boy Pat. We wouldn't have
Ooh.
sex, but we could date. We could cuddle.
Yay, cuddle.
It's not often because I'm a big dude and I'm the big hug protector guy. It's not often I see a guy that I think, I bet he gives great hugs.
Oh.
And if you guys haven't seen Pat, go watch his videos. That dude is big as fuck. And
Yeah,
bet he gives good hugs.
I would date Pat.
Plus, I like when he goes, this right here. And I love the way he talks in his
We
videos.
need to do an after show and get him on
We could do that. Absolutely.
and say things to him.
I fucking love Pat. Scribbles, you did a video today.
I did. I fulfilled the promise I made last night with all of my super chat donators, and my trying to MC the stream and keep things going precluded me from doing live ads without taking long pauses to either think them up or script them. So I took the time out today to write out scripts for all the ads for all the people that donated and asked for one, and made a little video of the ads as a compilation. Now, I must say, and this is to everyone in the chat, this is going to be a one-time deal.
I was going to say, that was awesome.
Yeah, this is not the precedent for me doing video ads all the time. It
Can I
may
make a
happen.
suggestion?
Yes, go ahead.
You should do it like once a month or something. Have a stream dedicated to these ones will be. video ads.
Uh-huh.
Because those are really cool, and I think that would be a really, really good incentive.
Mm-hmm.
I like the regular ads, but that was really fucking awesome. And Moon Poon was fucking beautiful.
Moon Poon.
Moon Poon.
I thought that up as I was walking to get my morning snack after a few hours at work. I was like, I got to think of an '80s action film on a moon base with a bordello. Moon Poon. Just, oh God. But anyway, so that was for everybody who donated yesterday. Some ad ideas came to me in more fullness than others. That's why some have more pictures and things and all that kind of stuff. So first and foremost, thank you to everybody who donated yesterday. I hope you enjoyed the video and that kind of thing. But yes, this is not going to be a regular feature. If I decide to do it again, it'll be on a special occasion, or I'm hesitant to say, oh, donate X number of dollars and I'll do whatever. I don't want to do that. But, you know, if it occurs to me again to do this, I'll do that. What I'm going to try to do is just when I get ads on streams, I will do my best to write something out and take some time on air to do it for you. If time is overrun and I can't get to it, I might pick it up the next stream, or, you know, worst comes to worst, I may do a video. But yesterday was kind of special, so there you go. I really enjoyed doing it, but again, I don't want to make it a regular thing just on the chance of getting overwhelmed.
SDA, do you know what Poon is?
Do I want to know?
I was just wondering if you got that reference, because that is kind of old. You don't hear it very much anymore. It's pussy. That's why it's funny.
Well, she hasn't even watched the video yet. She didn't bother to watch my video before the stream. It's only 3 minutes long. She doesn't care. But that aside,
fight.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm working on another video.
You watch every single one of my videos, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, normally I watch yours. I was fucking busy, okay?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you looked real busy there, sitting there looking at the camera and playing with your dog all the way through up to the stream.
We
Anyway.
need to work this out in counseling, guys.
Yeah. I better call Dr. Hoff. He is a family therapist. I am working on another video. I've got a little TEDx. I mentioned it last night. I got a little TEDx deal I'm working on that caught my brain, as I say. I've got the video chopped. I've got most of the script written. I'm trying to come up with a way to conclude it, because it's kind of a weird subject matter. I'll get into it when I do the video, but barring something crazy happening, I should have it out either tomorrow or Friday at the latest. So there's that. Otherwise, yeah, that's all the YouTube stuff to print for me.
Well, the YouTube thing that I wanted to cover was related to a story that we talked about yesterday, and just Philip DeFranco's video.
Oh, yeah.
So the Austin Jones thing, if you haven't seen Philip DeFranco's video, you should go watch it, because he goes through all of the disgusting, nitty-gritty details about what this guy did. And
for those of you who missed yesterday, you want to update them on what this story is even about?
Okay, so there is this guy on YouTube he's like a music guy, and he's 23 years old. His name's Austin Jones, and he has a massive following of young teenage girls. And he's basically in trouble for on child pornography charges, because he has pretty much manipulated some of these girls into sending him sexually explicit videos, and that kind of stuff. And I know that sounds bad, but when you listen to what was actually said in these messages, it's even worse.
Yeah.
He says stuff along the lines of, you want to be my biggest fan, right? So you have to do this, this, and this. And he talks like 14-year-old girls into essentially sending him videos and stuff like that. And the amount of manipulation in it, it's just it's awful what this guy does. He's not just sort of suggestively talking to these girls, like some of the news articles suggest. He's like literally instructing them and guilting them into doing it. It's ridiculous. So
yeah, but like the manipulation that this guy uses, he's just such a douchebag.
yeah,
And the great thing is, from the reports, he's admitted all of it. So he's going to go to jail for it, and good.
he
I'm
should.
happy with that. Yeah.
And Phil DeFranco brought this up, but it does bring up questions of, you know, when you have a YouTube channel, it's a lot easier for your fans to talk to you than it is for them to talk to somebody who's involved in traditional media. And it brings up a lot of questions about the relationship between you and your fans. And so,
As I've said many, many times, do not try to fuck your fans, especially the underage ones, you fucking disgusting piece of shit.
yeah.
A couple of people have mentioned this in chat. They're calling him Onision Jr. And I do want to point this out. If you watch Drama Alert today, Onision actually called this fucker out as a pedo like a year ago. So even Onision thinks this guy's a scummy piece of shit, and was ahead of everybody on pointing out what a nasty motherfucker he is. So I'm not a fan of Onision, but he got this one right. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say takes one to know one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it too.
But yeah, Philip DeFranco did a good job. I really don't want to repeat any of this stuff because I might vomit, but Phil DeFranco did talk about it, and he also mentioned the growing movement to accept pedophilia as well, which obviously this is not a clear case of pedophilia, but this is a guy manipulating and being a complete piece of shit to underage girls. So like, I hope he goes to jail for as long as they can put his ass in there, because
Yeah, he's looking at 30 years.
And I hope he gets all 30 of them.
Me too. Because yeah, the stuff he was saying to these girls, and this is only the two that we know about. I reading what he wrote, and there's no way these were the first two he did this to. No fucking way.
No, he probably did this to God knows how many of them. And the other thing too is, like, if you want to get pictures from your fans, you can't find some girls that are 18. Like, really?
Yeah. For the record, guys, he absolutely knew how old these girls were.
Yeah, he did.
There's no question about that. This fucking nasty bastard. He'll probably end up, if his lawyer's any good, they'll find a plea deal on this. But I do hope he gets all 30 years, because
I do too. I hope that sometimes I just wish, like, we didn't offer plea deals, and it would just be like, no, you actually have to go to fucking prison for this.
I'm with you on that, but I also understand the practicality of getting it.
No, I do. It's just that this guy is a legitimate sexual predator, and there's no doubt in my mind that he wouldn't do this again.
Yeah, yeah. But that's okay. They have internet in jail, so he can. I didn't do anything on YouTube. I'm hoping to get a video done tonight. The one I wanted to talk about, do you guys even watch Smosh?
No.
Do you know who they are?
Yeah, I do. Well, I do. I don't know if... I mean, Scribe's kind of old, so he might not.
Nope.
Anthony from Smosh has left. He's no longer part of Smosh. And the reason he left is because he started the channel with his friend Ian, I believe is his name. And
aren't they like the only two people that Smosh?
Well, kind of. As they grew, they become an actual company. They're not just a YouTube channel anymore. It's very much the way Phil DeFranco's show was for a long time. He at least had creative control over his show, Philly. But it was part of Phil's channel, was part of Discovery, and when they started shutting down channels, there was questions about whether he could keep his. Well, with Smosh, it's just become it's a company that has to put out products that are designed specifically for their audience. And He's left because he doesn't feel creative control anymore. And to me, it's just an interesting part of YouTube where so many people, if you look at like PewDiePie, he gets to do whatever the hell he wants because he's never given his company to anybody else. He basically runs it all by himself still. And I'm just wondering how many of the channels from like when Smosh started, these older channels who, as they grew, companies came in and like, hey, we can help you out, are going to be in the same position as time goes on. Mr. Medicare has done that, the Glasses Off series, and they didn't have exactly the same kind of issue, but it's kind of similar in that they started making the product specifically for the audience, and it wasn't really working anymore, because once you start doing it that way, creativity kind of dies, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
The Glasses Off. What are you talking about?
The what's the series he just did? You and me talked about it before. Where oh, for fuck's sake, the guy with the glasses. That's what it is.
Oh, well, he's been promising those videos for like 5 years.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the actual guy with the glasses thing, not.
Oh,
not
I
his
thought you were
videos
talking
on
about
it.
Medicare. I thought Mr. Medicare was like giving up stuff.
No. I was talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about
his
you're talking
take
about
on
Doug Walker. Yeah,
Yeah.
Doug Walker and Nostalgia Critic and his giving up on the character to do other things, and then he completely imploded because he wasn't doing what people wanted him to do, that were willing to pay and watch his show for. Yeah,
and with theirs, it was more he just screwed it all up. But as companies move in, if you look at like the advertising is still based on television advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And in television advertising, you can't say fuck on TV. But PewDiePie says fuck all the time, and it's got 53 million viewers. Maybe it's time to, examine how advertising works on YouTube. Maybe it's okay to say fuck once in a while. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing that I find interesting is that, our content isn't okay because we talk about terrorism, but, CNN stuff isn't demonetized. And
right.
I'm like, maybe think a little.
With Smosh, it really sounds like because he even mentions that it's a business now. And so much of business is puritanical when it comes to video, and it's been this way since the 1950s when television first became a big thing. It's always been about presenting that clean cut image, for at least for advertisers. And just listening to the way he talks about how they don't have creative control anymore, it just got me thinking about how that's going to affect many people who get really big on YouTube, especially as YouTube moves into real TV now. It's just something I'm interested in, and I'm interested in seeing how it turns out. But it's really heartbreaking to watch that video of Anthony talking about why he left Smosh. Just because you could see how, this is something that meant the world to the guy, and he had to walk away because he has no control over what he created. And we've seen this.
Why I'm afraid of fucking publishing companies.
Self-publish. I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, no, I know I'm going to, but this is why I don't trust a fucking publishing company as far as I can throw them.
So much
because I want to have creative control over my shit.
Mm-hmm. And from publishing to music to television to movies, so much of our entertainment industry is just stuck. They wouldn't know innovation if it kicked them in the ass. But yeah, just something I was thinking about and something that was interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, for our topic, I had told Point that we could do his question. Can we still do that, or do you want me to wait till we do it on my channel?
No, that's fine. We can do it. Next time we're on my channel, we'll revisit the cults thing. So that's fine.
Oh no! If you guys want to do the Colts, that's fine.
No, it's okay because I was expecting to do it tomorrow,
Yeah.
and I'm not fucking ready. So
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want, we can do that tomorrow on my channel. There's no reason we can't.
Whatever. It's fine. It's all good.
Point
thank you, Point. Towards self-publishing, make it happen. I'm going to. And and thank you guys so much for all the support that we get. And, all of this stuff does go towards pretty much funding everything that I need to actually get this done, whether it be an actual professional editor, professional artists, all that kind of stuff. And I do have some art that's already done. And once a lot of it gets done, I'll start showing it to you guys. But I'm like really excited about that. So anyway. What it means to be an American, is that what it was, right?
Yeah. Point and I've talked about this a couple of times, and Point is Canadian, and when we say European, if you tell somebody, that's a European thing, there's a specific, I mean, you get an idea of what it is, but you don't think it's necessarily British. You don't think it's necessarily German. There's kind of a culture on the continent. But if you look like at North America, if people are talking about Americans, they're not talking about Canadians. They're not talking about Mexicans. They're usually talking about U.S. citizens or U.S. something associated with the United States. And he asked me, what does it mean to be an American? And I've actually had trouble answering this. So I was wondering if you guys even had an answer.
I don't know. I guess for one thing, being a little bit too obsessed and a little bit too proud of your country, being like freedom and democracy, motherfucker, above all else, guns, and I don't know. I think the world perceives us as having a big-headed culture. And I don't think that's wrong. I think we do, but I also don't think that our big heads are misplaced either. So I don't know. What do you think, Monkey or Scribe or whatever?
Scribbles?
I think being an American means living in a country that is so rich and safe in relative terms to the rest of the world that you only have two ways you can go: either appreciate it or you think you're entitled to it. And I think this is unique to our country because, as compared to so many others, we have not known actual strife and war and division on the scale that so many other places on the planet have, either within the last few years or just the last 100 years. I mean, save for the Civil War, we have been a united country, and our divisions are certainly cultural and social, but overwhelmingly, we are. You take the relative condition of your average American versus just about any. Sorry. Hello.
Sorry.
We say.
No, it's sorry. Jinx is just.
Oh.
She just made a noise. She wasn't talking.
Oh,
yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, did any of that make sense?
No, it did, and I think you hit on a lot of really good things, because the Civil War was the last war that was on our turf.
Mm-hmm.
Even World War II, with them hitting Hawaii, I mean that wasn't the mainland.
No.
And we are very lucky in that we have the Canadians to the north and the Mexicans to the south. And while culturally the Mexicans are a lot different than we are, different language, food, Canadians are a lot closer to us, partially because Canada was largely started by people who didn't want to fight in the Revolutionary War. Mm-hmm. But they're also our European brothers in language and culture. We are very isolated from any danger. Yeah. I mean, even 9/11, I mean, those people had to fly over here and train for a long time before they could. They didn't just have to run across the border and do something.
Yeah, how many other countries share borders with other countries that they haven't had to deal with invasion or border strife of some military nature in the last 100 years? I mean, we have the longest contiguous border with Canada, and we have no neighbors that are hostile to us. And I mean, how many other countries can make that claim who are surrounded by other countries? It just
and not even really ever been hostile to us. I mean, there was some Spanish American.
Yeah, there's Mexican American War. Yeah, I mean, there was wars like I said in the last 100 years. I mean, if you can go a century without any kind of conflict between your neighbors, that's a pretty good thing. I mean, not even Europe can't claim that to any degree, and the Middle East certainly not. The Southeast Asia certainly not. I mean, if you want to talk about the parts of the world that have had no border strife, it's us and Australia. It's like that's about it. Us, Canada, and Australia. I've probably had zero conflict with their neighbors in some.
And I guess New Zealand.
Sure, or the island nation of.
So basically, like the kids of the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the United Kingdom bastard.
Yeah, basically, like all their bastard children are doing pretty good.
I think to be American is to be a victim of our country's success, or to be humbled by it. One of the two. Either you take the effort to look outside of the insulating factor of where you live and the largesse that we all enjoy. Even, I mean, and again, I don't mean to start diminishing people's misfortunes or anything, but if you want to compare a poor person here versus a poor person practically anywhere else in the world, a poor person here lives like a king.
Oh yeah.
So even in our poverty, we enjoy a level of quality of life that is unsurpassed in most parts of the world. And I don't think most people appreciate that. And I understand why, because, if you don't have anything to compare our circumstances to, like if you've never been to Poland, if you've never seen the living conditions in the worst parts of India or something like that, you're not going to know. The most you could get is like a documentary or something.
Well, that's why I think that's kind of, the social justice millennials, the people who are my age, who think that, if you're in college, you're oppressed somehow. I think that's why. Like, you have it so good that you can imagine up oppression and justify bullshit.
I've said, yeah, I absolutely agree with that we have it so good in this society that we actually worry about fucking microaggressions.
Yes.
When you're worrying about microaggressions, you have it pretty fucking good. And Scribe, I think you're absolutely right. There's only two choices at that point: either be humble or the entitlement side. And unfortunately, I think we're moving way too close to the entitlement side.
And it's being enabled. I mean, you want to talk about look at I look at the show Intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who the social safety. So if you imagine that you as an individual are the person who's got the addiction, and you're addicted to the fortunes that we all enjoy in one way, shape, or form as Americans. You look at the social safety net as one family member. You look at the Constitution as another family member. You look at individual rights as all these family members are sitting there, but they're not the kind taking you to an intervention necessarily. They're the ones who are enabling you to feel as though you are safe, you're protected, you've got you got nowhere to go but up. And so, you get that sort of like what we got now. We got sort of like the narcissistic children being told, like, here's your blue ribbon for participation, etc. Mm-hmm. And it's true. We as Americans, if you're born here or you become a citizen, you are thus then endowed with a set of rights and freedoms that is, like I say, unsurpassed in most places in the world. And these are just naturally there as a right of birth, essentially. And if you don't know any different, you can't make any comparisons. It's like one of those things you don't know what you have until you've lost it. To me, it would be ideal if every American citizen had to do some kind of foreign service in another land for 6 months or a year or something, just to have a notion of what the rest of the world is like. Not military service necessarily, but Peace Corps kind of stuff or something like that.
Thank you, Point. Or well endowed. Cute. Very cute. Yeah, I think especially social justice warriors should have to go live in Somalia for 6 months.
There you go.
You want to see
drive across the border. Just go to Mexico for a day.
No, I want them to go to Somalia for 6 months. I think they would come back.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really, it's just Mexico's a little bit cheaper.
The Jack Cochran wants to know why I want to take refrigerators away from the poor. And that was said tongue in cheek. That's a reference to my Riley video. This is how spoiled Americans are. If you watched Riley's video on what it's like to be poor, like he's ever had a fucking clue. He actually says things like, poor people deserve happiness. Nobody deserves fuck all. You don't deserve anything. You deserve what you work for. That's it. Mm-hmm. You're not owed anything. And he talks about refrigerators because there was a meme that went around talking about how many people that are poor in the US have refrigerators. And to us, yes, even when you move into an apartment, there's already a refrigerator there. So most people have one, but that doesn't make it a necessity at all.
Well, I even made that point in my video because he was like, even people that eat ramen every night have refrigerators. I'm like, ramen doesn't need to be refrigerated. So if that's all you're eating,
yeah, you don't need a fucking refrigerator.
You can get rid of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, and I had some people in my comments like, yeah, but like refrigerators are useful though. And I'm like, I understand that. What I'm saying is that you can survive without one. Focus for a second, sweetheart.
Yeah, the other thing. Sorry, go ahead.
It's not that it would be like fun or easy. It's just that you can do it. I promise.
The other thing I wanted to also add to that is when I was talking about the two distinctions, either you appreciate what you've got or you sort of feel like you're owed it or something. Mm-hmm. The other side of that is the argument will be, well, since you have all of these things, you have a responsibility to X, Y, Z, and otherwise, because you are privileged and all that kind of stuff. And to be fair, as American citizens, we are privileged because being an American citizen gives you things for being an American citizen. That's called a privilege. But I don't feel guilt over it because it's a very old mantra. I take neither credit nor blame for things I have not done. However, I understand that where I am right now, the life that I have is based on the efforts and the sacrifices of those that came before me. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I hold in my heart as a place of guilt, but it is a place of responsibility. And just on a microcosm level, my grandfather and both of my grandfathers were in the military. My grandfather fought in World War II. They both were born into poverty and they worked their way up out of, one side of my family worked their way out of the Dust Bowl, for God's sakes. And I knew none of this kind of hardship when I was growing up. And the reason I knew none of this hardship is because they worked and they sacrificed. My parents worked and they sacrificed. And as a result, I had opportunities laid before me that they could only wish they have had when they were younger. Now, to me, it's my responsibility to take advantage of those sacrifices. Not in the sense of like, I'm taking advantage of them, but to respect the fact that they did this work ahead of me in order to put me in the position where I could thrive as a result. And so my responsibility is not to disrespect that and to do the best that I can with what I've been provided and be, as good a person as I can be. It's not a matter of sitting in a place of guilt, like, oh, well, I have all this stuff and I didn't work for it. No, you're right. I didn't work for it. But everybody that came before me sure as hell did. And they did it for my benefit and for the benefit of my children and so on and so on. That's the whole point. This idea that you have to look backwards and feel bad because you didn't work to get to where you are. I could easily make the decision to do something destructive to myself and throw it all away, but I didn't.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, exactly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut in there.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
That's the point. That it is just because you were given this doesn't mean you can't piss it away. Just look at any really wealthy family that has blown it all to the point that their great grandchildren are now actually living in poverty.
Yeah.
Just because you're given a situation doesn't mean you're going to make the best of it. And I think that's what's being lost on so many SJWs right now is the appreciation for what got us to where we are. The guilt that you talked about, the guilt of, oh my God, we are privileged. Yeah, we are. You know what? You should be fucking humbled by that.
Yeah. And proud of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the things that had to happen to put you to where you are. Think about everything that your parents, your grandparents did. And I'll tell you what, if you're in a situation that isn't that great, you are the determiner of your own fate. And I'm not saying that everybody gets the same shakes in the world and everybody's circumstances is the same. That's life. You know, I could choose tomorrow to become a crack addict and throw my entire life away. There's nothing stopping me right now from just pissing away everything that either I've worked for or that my parents sacrificed for to give me the opportunities for. I could make that choice. I'm not making that choice because I respect them. I respect the people that came before them, and I respect myself. And it's got nothing to do with feeling guilt. It's got everything to do with feeling self-pride. And I know pride's a sin, but I am proud of my parents. I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud of the fact that I can say I'm standing on my own 2 feet. And yes, did I take advantage of the opportunities provided me by my parents, my grandparents, and everything else that worked ahead of me? Yes. Why wouldn't I? What am I going to slap it away? It's like, oh yeah, well, you did all this work, but fuck you. I'm going to go off and do my own thing and ruin my life. No, go to hell. Pardon me. I got a little passionate there.
No, I enjoy hearing it. You know, really stuck with me. Everybody made jokes about it, and I have too, and it was absolutely overdone. But the commercials back when you and I were kids of the starving kids in Africa.
Oh, Sally Struthers.
There were tons of the. They were on every night. You could see infomercials from these
for just pennies a day, etc.
Yeah, these poor little kids sitting there with flies all over them. Their stomachs extended because not because they're well fed, but because that's what happens when you starve to death.
Right.
And then I see like fucking Riley Dennis talking about how fucking refrigerators are a necessity. These are kids begging for UN rations. Fuck you.
Yeah, when I see a fat person walking down the street complaining about their life, I'm like, yeah, no. Like, sorry, it just doesn't quite compare to somebody that actually is suffering in some fashion.
Steve Shives just had a video where he was talking about how privileged people are because you don't understand what it's like as a black person to hear the word nigger. And I'm thinking, do you realize how fucking retarded that is? There are black people right now in Africa starving to death who would not give a shit if you called them a nigger as you fed them food because they know what real strife is. It's not a fucking word. And oh God. So to answer your question point, there's a lot of different things that go into being an American, and it's really hard to answer that question for me, at least, because there's just so much, especially as a U.S. citizen, that goes into being an American. For me, at least, it's a lot of pride. I come from a military family, and I'm so proud of my father, my grandfather, my uncles. Guys who, my grandfather was on a sub in World War II, and I cannot even fucking imagine what that was like. Roaming around the fucking Pacific with Japanese fleet looking for you. No, thank you. And I'm very grateful for what has been done to put me where I am.
I'd like to put the question, flip it on its head just briefly, or just maybe the answer briefly. I think maybe, just to get sort of Hallmark sappy for a moment, I think maybe one of the strengths is we can't answer that question. It is a constant, philosophical what if, because of our good fortune in relative terms, in the proportionality of things. We can make that determination for ourselves. What defines me as an American? Because we're not under some kind of stringent rule. We're not under some kind of cultural mandate necessarily. People want us to be,
Mhm.
The fact that there's opposition to that just speaks to the fact that there is no one answer to it, which might be our strength. I don't know. Thank you, Point. Thanks very much. If being American ever simply meant playing baseball, I'd be happy to play with you guys. Oh, well,
I'd be happy to be there too. I couldn't do much.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy
You'd
in
be
the
the-
outfield.
no, you'd be third base.
Yeah.
Real quick, Monkey
Yeah.
Dick, Jim Jones, and movies, because we haven't said it on this stream yet.
Oh,
Also, if you
the
would
button.
hit the up button, as Monkey likes to call it.
The up button. Yeah.
Mhm.
I had a thought and
Sorry.
I forgot what it was.
SDA
No, it wasn't.
ruined
It was when
SDA.
No,
God
actually-
damn it.
Point ruined it. SDA didn't do it this time. What were you saying there?
I said that maybe the strength is that we don't have a clear answer as to what an American is
Oh.
because we have so many options.
I want to speak to American arrogance. Arrogance can be a bad thing, absolutely, and American arrogance has been a bad thing at times.
Mhm.
But I do think American arrogance has helped us get to where we are.
Yep.
Because that fuck it, we can do anything we want. We can achieve anything we try to. Helps, and yes, sometimes it leads us to go into third worlds and build military bases we probably shouldn't. But in other times, I mean, it's put men on the moon and made cars accessible to everyone. So there's definitely a downside to American arrogance, but it's not a bad thing. And I think more countries would be the idea of American exceptionalism. I don't understand why more countries aren't like that. Pride in your country. I maybe it's just being an American. I have trouble not understanding how people are not that proud of their country. So yeah. We're pretty late here. Should we start turning it over to them?
Yeah, we'll go a little bit longer since.
Oh no, I got to split at 8, but I got my entire evenings scheduled around the idea that we're done at 8:00 or 8:00 my time anyway.
Well, we'll see what happens.
You
Thank
guys-
you, Sanguine. What? Monkey.
Nothing. I didn't
Okay.
say anything.
Oh, I
Sorry,
thought we lost you again. I was like, oh shit.
No, Monkey, you are our monkey mascot, Gimpy. Number 8.
Gimpy the
cheerleader.
monkey. Woke. All right, guys.
Yeah,
You
so we'll
heard her.
turn it over to you guys, ask questions, whatever.
When you said turn it over to them, I thought, you mean the giant ants? And that's a reference for anybody who knows some really old movies.
I know there were a lot of questions that were going on while we were talking. Those are really hard to keep up with if we're on a very strong point. So if we missed anything, please make sure to ask again. Moonshot, guess the meds for Monkey don't make him sleepy, eh? Not so far. Some dumb American, why do you hate communists in space?
I don't think I've ever said that I hate communist in space.
I told him it's probably because he's a cunt usually.
I think he's making that up.
I like communists in space when we've been able to talk when he's not talking about fucking communism. He actually seems like a pretty nice guy, and I've heard from other people he's a really nice guy. But you do come off as a bit as a douche with the commie stuff, just saying. What are your thoughts on a possible secondary civil war coming soon, even if it isn't fought by the gun and sword?
I don't think there's another civil war coming.
No. Things aren't that bad.
Culturally, I see kind of a war coming. But the people here's the thing with millennials. Here real soon, a lot of them are going to start changing their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get out of college, once you're out of mom and dad's house and you're having to pay your own way, you start to realize there's a lot more important things than microaggressions.
Well, I mean, past is prologue here. We just have to look back to the 60s and the extremist groups then, the Black Panther Party, the Weather Underground, and so on, you're always going to have these idealistic notions taken to their extreme end, and some small splinter group is going to do something that goes beyond the pale of what most normal people would do. They're going to get out of college. They're going to be shocked to the system, like, oh, the real world doesn't work how I thought it did. I actually have to confront things. I have to take care of myself and not think that I'm a hero all the time. And things will be dialed back. It's difficult for me not to see this as just the latest iteration of a very old story, and that we know where it's going. And there's going to be upheaval. There's going to be lousy things that are going to happen. There's going to be people doing horrible things like what happened today, or the riots in Berkeley and such. But I don't, as much as it might come to as a shock to some of the more militant factions out there in our society today, nothing you're doing is all that new or innovative or radical.
Nope.
It's just a different window dressing to a very old product. That's all it is.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the most staunch hippies of the 60s, by the 80s they were the yuppies.
Exactly.
So I mean, oh wow, okay, got some donations here.
Thank you, Timothy. Square Donut happens every 4 years. It's called an election. Okay. Referring to the Civil War. Thank you, Point. Do you buy into Peterson's idea that you get 20 of them in a room, each being 5% social justice, and it creates a monster?
Yes.
Sure.
It's mob mentality, and the idea of social justice and intersectionality is that we have to bring all of these horrible things together. And yeah, you're basically creating a mob with 20 different grievances. Jordan Peterson has a great, I don't want to throw this out there because go to Jordan Peterson's channel, watch all of his stuff, but there's a great one where he's giving a talk and he's specifically addressing all of the different issues have, and he's talking about your oppression. Everybody's oppressed in some way, and if you just start adding on, eventually you're the most oppressed person ever. When in reality, what you should be doing is looking at how great things are. And it's such a hippie notion. I hate agreeing with him on it, but I really am a glass half full kind of person.
I mean, it might be hard to believe, but I like to be a glass half full kind of person too.
Having talked to you personally, I believe that. I know that's not your stream personality, but yeah, I believe that.
No, I am a very optimistic person.
I'm sorry, I missed who asked it, but somebody asked us what we think about people who give up their citizenship voluntarily.
I think if if that's what you want to do, I mean, fine. But if you were a citizen of America, then you're lost.
It's a free country. Whatever.
My opinion on it depends on why you're doing it. If you just really love another culture, say you just fall in love with France and you want to go over there and be a citizen and you want to renounce your citizenship here, I have no problem with it. If you're doing it because Donald Trump won the election, you're a fucking idiot and you get what you deserve. We had quite a few questions.
What's a senpai?
I forget the translation.
Okay.
Do you have the internet, SDA?
I don't know. Look, I stay out of the Japanese shit because I don't like anime. I know it's an anime thing because it sounds anime-y.
Senpai in the Urban Dictionary type thing means someone who will never notice you. So senpai is sort of like that unattainable, sort of put on a pedestal individual. So it's like, notice me, senpai. It's like somebody who they think is never going to pay them any attention.
Oh my goodness, there's so many questions here. Sorry,
I don't
guys.
see any.
Scroll back. There's a ton of them.
Okay, sorry.
Why does the U.S. media refer to black people as African Americans? Don't you have many Jamaicans over there? African American is the dumbest thing that we've ever come up with. All of those, not hashtag.
Hyphenated.
What's the? Thank you. Hyphenated American shit is just a way that's where it's the progression of PC into SJW. It was a way to specifically break up Americans so that they could point and go, these people are different.
Divide and conquer.
Yes, exactly. When the whole idea of America is that we are all one. What are your thoughts on monkey tits? I have no thoughts on monkey tits.
Fingers Miggy said, I gave up my American citizenship, yet still live in the States.
Okay.
That's weird. Oh, God, he's not one of those free citizens, is he?
Uh-oh.
Oh, are you sovereign citizen? Yes.
A few streams back, you were talking about sequels. What do you think about the Saw sequels?
They vary widely in quality, one to the other. Some are better than others. The one thing I will give the creators of those movies credit for is their ability to retcon or take the negative space in each movie and use it to make connections to the next.
Yeah, the Saw movies, like, if you ever get a chance to watch them all in succession, it's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I lost my train of thought again.
SDA, how's the movie list going?
It's not.
Princess Bride.
We need to get a cricket sound for when we get asked that question. Can we have a once a week, fortnight, or month segment of SDA watches where an SDA watches a movie she's never seen and then discuss it?
It'd be nice if she'd watch a movie.
You need to watch The Princess Bride so we can talk about it, because it is such a good. I've never met anybody who.
Is it a movie where, like, I have to actually watch it to understand what's happening?
Yes.
What do you mean? Wait. What do you mean? Like, you half-ass watch movies?
Oh, hell yeah, I half-ass watch movies. I hate movies.
Sit down and watch this one from start to finish and pay attention to it.
She doesn't have the attention. She's got the attention span of a dead gnat.
She's got the attention span of a millennial.
Yeah.
I just don't like movies.
It's a good movie, though. It really is. It's an excellent movie, and if you don't like it, lie to me, because it is one of my favorite movies.
I don't even know where to find it. What if I can't find it? It's fine. I can't find it, so I can't watch it. It's all good.
If you can't find it, go to Walmart. I know it's in the $5 bin. I was just there today. You can find it.
I don't want to watch
it. How about that roaming millennials starting a website? Good for her. I hope it works out really well for her. What is it with Americans and powdered drinks?
What's a powdered drink?
Like Kool-Aid, Tang, Country Time.
Why don't I like movies? I don't know. It's just not my preferred entertainment medium.
I think I'm catching up on questions here, guys. So if I missed anything, I apologize. Ask again. Make sure.
Why am I more grumpy than the two old guys? Because they want to make me watch movies. So.
What is the most overrated movie of the 80s? Silence of the Lambs.
Overrated movie of the 80s?
Yeah.
That's a bit tough, because there's tons and tons. I mean, the whole decade, there's a lot of overrated movies. I don't know. I always thought Risky Business was kind of overrated. I don't think it was that great.
That was not a very good movie.
Yeah, it got a lot of attention for that one little sequence in Tom Cruise dancing around in his underwear. But other than that, I was like, it's not a good movie. It's boring.
Yeah, the only thing good about that movie was Bob Seger's song.
Right, and that's you don't even need the movie for that.
No, it's much better to just listen to it while you're doing other things. Zenith says that Silence of the Lambs was a 90s movie. That's okay. It covers all decades as the worst movie of that decade.
Sure.
Princess Bride, most overrated. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's just wrong.
Are you sure I have to watch it?
Yes, it's a really good movie. I
Is
promise.
it sappy?
Kind of.
Just watch it. Good Lord.
Just watch the damn movie. Scribe, do you think today's problems are because of Joseph McCarthy?
Today's problems are because of Joseph McCarthy. Well, no, I think, Joseph McCarthy was just doing the exact same thing that happened in Salem, for God's sakes. He's looking for the witches. Divide and conquer, finding the sinner, separating yourself on a virtue level from the enemy, whether real or imagined. It's not a new idea. McCarthy didn't cause what's happening today. He just embodied the same kind of mentality that we're seeing today.
I keep waiting for the "Have you no decency, sir" movement, or moment of this fucking movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought that for a while with the way politics have gotten, because that's what we desperately need, that movement where somebody stands up and go, "Are you fucking kidding me? What is wrong?"
Yeah, well,
with
they keep capitulating. I mean, Bill Maher, for God's sakes, Bill Maher just capitulating. I mean, the people that would be in a position or have a platform to do that, they're not. They're giving in, and it's. I thought of all people, Bill Maher would be the guy to do something like that, but no, he's just one more. If he hadn't apologized, we wouldn't have been hearing about this anymore.
Yeah.
A week would have gone by, and the next show would come out, and somebody else would say something crazy, or the next news story would come out, and no one would give a shit. But he gave in.
Thank you, Point. Perhaps the baseball shooting was a false flag. Joseph McCarthy was the real shooter.
Back from the grave.
Real quick, Knights of Charlemagne did some fan art for us, and I was going to show it tonight, but I am still having a little bit of a connection problem. So I will show that tomorrow night, no matter whose stream we end up on. So I apologize, Knight, for not being able to do it tonight.
Yeah, and thank you, Knight. I was blown away by your efforts on the profile of the Scribelight avatar. I've changed that to my my Twitter avatar now. I may use it in a video in the near future. We'll see.
Is Paul McCartney dead? No. That's
amazingly enough, no. Although, given the years so far with Adam West going away, I would not be at all surprised. What I want to know, and what I ask every year, why is Jerry Lewis still alive?
It's all the grease in his hair.
Yeah, he's always combing his hair with the Exxon Valdez.
Yeah, it's the protective thing.
Yeah, he's preserved.
Communist in Space asks SDA, does liking orange is the new black make me gay?
Yeah.
It makes you a lesbian, regardless of what your gender is. Speaking of which, I just want to say real quick, they just released some news today about the next X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix. And apparently Jessica Chastain is going to play the villain Lilandra of the Shi'ar Empire. And I'm like, Lilandra wasn't a villain. What are you guys doing? You've already fucked it up and you haven't even released the movie yet. Lilandra was the good guy. I hate these guys. I hate these guys making these movies.
You know what pissed me off today? I was at Toys R Us and looking at all the Spider-Man toys, and every goddamn one of them has the suit from the new movie. Couldn't find a single one with the regular suit. Like,
okay.
Who is Jessica Chastain? Murph.
She's Murph from Interstellar, and she's a redheaded actress. I don't know why she's an item. Maybe I missed something, but it's like, okay. Every time I heard her name, I kept
redheads, don't you?
Yeah, but that's not a surefire yes for anything. Redheaded women aren't like, oh boy, somebody with red hair. No, it's there's other factors involved.
I think they should have got SDA to play Dark Phoenix.
Dark Ginger.
Why?
Just because you're pretty and you have red hair.
Oh, okay.
Nobody wants to see ugly bitches on screen. No, that wasn't a cranky remark.
The new Spider-Man video game looks good, Chalky Gore says. I saw the play footage. it still looks like it's going to be a QuickTime event, cinematic thing. The one thing I will give it that's interesting is that they specifically built it so that Spider-Man does not kill anyone, or at least doesn't overtly kill anyone. Like even in situations where he throws somebody off a building, there's some reflexive animation in there that has him grab them with web and pull them back to safety, conceivably, except for those instances where he like swings a giant eye bar at somebody and hits them, and then, oh yeah, I'm sure they're fine after that.
Any more questions, guys? What do you got for us? Scribbles has to go here in just a moment, but
yeah, we can just end it at 11. That's fine with me.
Okay, so very last call. We have 1 minute left. Make it quick. I'm also taking a medicine that's supposed to make me sleepy, so.
But yeah, I know it makes you look like a brunette, but I've got dark red hair. You can see it in my videos.
Dark
you can see
ginger.
it right there.
Yeah. Like, I don't have ginger hair, but yeah, it's dark red.
What is SDA's number? I don't think
42.
she's going to be giving that out.
None of your fucking
42.
business. That's what.
The number is 42. Scribelight is Red Letter Media, the greatest YouTube channel. It's up there. I have yet to watch a Red Letter Media video that didn't make me laugh my ass off in one way, shape, or form. Those guys are brilliant.
All right. Monkey, you want to?
Sure, I can do this. Chat, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for hitting that like button for us, and for all of the donations. You guys are wonderful. We love you. Scribe, SDA, a pleasure as always. Sorry about the issues earlier, and SDA, thank you for taking over there, because fucking internet. But,
of course, I'll see your
guys.
super chat donations anytime you want me to.
Guys, my internet makes me sad. See you next time.
Bye, guys.